People often make this strange assumption that because they perceive something as natural that it's healthy. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. But a quick reminder, if you guys will please click like down below, be greatly appreciated. If you're not subscribed or following, please do so. And if you'll be kind enough to drop me a comment down below, I would greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much. So let's get over to this topic and what we mean by it. So again, with this, what people don't understand, nothing we do in the modern era is natural. And when I say all this, I'm not telling people they shouldn't be eating whole foods, because it's quite the opposite. You guys know that I'm generally an advocate of, minimally processed foods, eating whole foods, balanced diets. And I actually do think failure to do so is our biggest problem in the modern world, right? So again, that's kind of the problem with this whole appeal to nature, which is considered to be a logical fallacy. Really, when you go back and look at historically, we live longer today. Even when you go back to when food was a little less processed, just due to modern medicine, less hardship, we still have a slightly longer lifespan in America than, say, certain previous generations. But they still ate junk food too, and I think people have to remember that. They had less medical care, they still ate junk. They eat stuff that we know is provably extremely harmful. People get upset when I say this. Butter, table sugar, all that stuff. That stuff's still garbage. Like that's still junk food. It's still highly refined junk food, and even if it wasn't, the lab data shows it's a problem. Like, look at studies on butter. Look at studies on bacon. They still had all that stuff. It absolutely kills you. Look at the data in the lab. We know that. Okay. Plus, if people want to argue natural foods, well, they're not natural anyways. Neither one of those are something you're finding in nature. Just didn't happen. And no, lions do not eat either one. They don't process and make either one. These are refined modern foods, somewhat modern. But they're still horrible for you. But let's come over to the point, this idea that just natural is automatically better, and assuming that all food processes are bad. Well, the problem when we get into that is that people realize, as soon as they buy into that logical fallacy, before long, they realize that a bunch of the foods they're eating aren't natural. Like, oh my God, I found out broccoli, which is really an amazing superfood, is not natural. It doesn't appear in nature. It's been selectively bred. It has a nutrient profile that is nothing like what's found in nature, which is a good thing, because we died of malnutrition very frequently in previous eras. And go back to Paleolithic times, and I hate it when people want to use the Paleolithic era as a foundation for how we should live today. And I'm not saying certain aspects of nutrition based upon looking at our evolutionary patterns. Like, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you can't live and die, pardon the pun, by that. Because they also had an average lifespan of 35. Now people point out, yeah, that's due to infant mortality. A lot of them still lived to be 60 or 70, but the vast majority didn't. And the average American still lives longer than that, in spite of all the garbage and pollution and everything else we eat. You're still not spending a very good number. Okay, so you look back at that and go, the average lifespan was 35. So it's like, I don't care about Mother Nature. Mother Nature wants me dead at 35. That's what that tells me. That's not good. And then we come over modern medicine and stuff has absolutely caused us to live longer. And I'm not saying whatever, you're just supporting Big Pharma. No, I'm supporting antibiotics. I'm supporting surgeries. I'm supporting all this life-saving stuff. And anyone who says Big Pharma is automatically just trying to kill you has clearly never had a life-changing surgery. Okay, they've never seriously been hurt and then had a doctor patch them up in some way that saved their life. They've never had a deadly disease that antibiotics cured. Okay, now they wouldn't be saying that. So you see where we're going with that? That's also a ludicrous idea. We come over to what's natural. It's natural to die when you get a serious infection. Like, you get a really serious infection your body can't fight off. If we go with what's natural, you're just supposed to die. Okay? And that's the problem. People will say, well, that's not what we mean. Well, what do you mean? Well, don't take unnecessary medicines, but medicine doesn't appear in nature. That's an engineered modern Big Pharma made those antibiotics. You see the problem? There's an inconsistency in the logic. And it's fine when you're able to step back and say, okay, that's not really what we mean. Okay, fine. And as long as we accept that, the problem is we come over to when people fall into this logic. No, we don't mean avoid air conditioners. We don't mean avoid life-saving medications. We just mean avoid the bad medications. It's like, okay, but a lot of things you're thinking of as bad medications are being used to combat lifestyle-induced diseases because people won't quit eating junk. And then people try to say, oh, well, that's big pharma. But it's not big pharma. Big pharma is not creating the junk food. Companies create the junk food because they're legally allowed to put junk in food. They're legally allowed to sell it to you. And we have a free market, and food scientists have determined that if they do certain things with food, they become more hyperpalatable. People will eat more of it. And if they eat more of it, they can sell more of it and make extra millions and millions of dollars. It's simple supply and demand. It's simple manipulating the variables based on what's available in the market. And I like capitalism. I like free market stuff, but maybe there's a point where we have to go, well, maybe we should not allow companies to make really garbage foods like that and feed it to your kids. You say that, and people say, well, what about our freedom? But you're standing there talking about the same people we're talking about. Well, big pharma's trying to kill you with all this junk they want you to eat. Then get rid of the junk, because it's not big pharma doing it. Big pharma is then supplying the cure to the crappy lifestyles that you said, no, I want the freedom to be able to give this poison and garbage, that the market creates to my kids and to myself. Then you're supporting big pharma selling you all these statins and insulin and everything else. You're supporting it. You're in favor of it because you want this stuff to continue to be sold as freedom. And big pharma is selling the solution to the thing that you claim you want because you're addicted to it. See the problem? They're not even the bad guy. The bad guy is us as a society not saying, hey, let's just quit eating junk. And it's not because it's natural or not. Broccoli's not natural. We process foods all the time in a way that improve nutritional value. You have to look at each individual thing. You can't just say, oh, it's processed, natural, good, unnatural. That's not how it works. You have to look at the actual individual process. Because when you say it, people say, well, that's not a true process. That is a chemical process. And if it improves nutritional value and quality, then it's a good thing. So instead of saying all process bad, well, ultra process is usually really bad. Usually 95% of the time that's true. But everything that's processed isn't bad. Sometimes it's literally better nutrition. So rather than making the blanket statements of, again, natural good, unnatural bad, why don't we just look at each thing individually and look at the information and data on it and make intelligent, rational choices for ourselves and for society? But again, natural, automatically good, that's a fallacy. And we can clearly see based on all of that, if we only went with nature, we wouldn't have air conditioner, antibiotics, we wouldn't have broccoli. We also wouldn't have fatty meat, by the way. A lot of the same people are like, well, I'm eating this Friday grass-fed steak is still really fatty, way more so than anything found in nature. And I happen to enjoy steak personally, but let's just be honest about it. There's nothing natural about that. Wild animals are lean. They don't live a comfortable overeating life in the pasture, getting fat even on the grass.